14,
13,
12,
11,
10,
9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
3,
2.
Go Gusto Next! Woo! Yeah!
This year's Gusto Next was held at Gusto's San Francisco home base.
They're in an office that's an extension of their business.
The signs out front that say, "Welcome to our home." You really are just part of the Gusto family.
At Gusto Next 2023, we learned about how our partners can unlock talent, unlock scale, and unlock retention, all through taking a people-first approach.
This is an awesome experience. We get to hear first from the Gusto team.
announcement after announcement.
My payroll team is going to have an absolute field day with the new product stuff.
Generative AI is huge.
Who wouldn't be excited about that?
Gusto Next is that incredible moment where we can all come together, celebrate technological achievements.
It gets you thinking as a business owner.
You can't be wrong about coming to learn how to serve your clients better.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Gusto Next. My name is Talithia Kornweibel. I have the privilege of being the Chief Revenue Officer here at Gusto. And what a Chief Revenue Officer for Gusto does is I have the opportunity to lead our marketing, sales, revenue operations, partnerships, and customer success teams. We think at Gusto about everything we can bring to add client value and add firm value. That's software, it's payroll, it's a full stack of employee benefits, because our shared mission is to create a world where work empowers a better life, where people and businesses thrive together. So our theme of unlocking possibility today, how do you unlock the possibility of your talent? How do you unlock scale? We're going to focus a lot on technology and AI today, but scale means many things. And how do you unlock your team experience? So it isn't just about acquiring talent. It's about everything you do as a business, if you've scaled the technology, to engage your team as well. And then, of course, with tech, with scale, there's an elephant in the room. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked ChatGPT. So again, the three things: unlocking talent, unlocking the scale of your firm, and unlocking the team experience. And we also want to remind you that this is a business, Gusto is a business that is here to stay. We've gotten to the scale of over 300,000 small and medium-sized businesses in our book of business that allows us to have influence in industry and be in it for the long run. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for being here today. We are so lucky to have you here, and let's kick it off. Thank you.
Today, we will speak about the key problems that small business face in the fast-changing world, and I will show you 6 exciting new features that we have. Payroll is very complex and highly regulated, and dealing with it can be very time-consuming and painful for small businesses. 80% of small business owners spend over 5 hours per pay on payroll-related tasks. 33% of US employers make payroll errors, leading to penalties and legal consequences. I spoke with many of our customers, and I've heard from you that payroll complexity problem is amplified by 4 macro trends these days. The first one is that where people work has changed. About 66% of them actually continue to work either remotely or in a hybrid mode. In addition, more and more companies have distributed and international workforces. There is higher turnover. And as you all know, we also have challenging macroeconomics conditions these days. So the solution is leveraging technology, AI, and assistive and smart solutions to improve efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. The future of technology-empowered payroll, super simple, assistive, and smart, suits your changing needs. Let me show you. So this is how payroll currently looks like. You're all familiar with that. 4 steps that you need to go through. Let's be honest, you see Penny way too much. And I know that you love Penny, but in a second you will see how you're going to see Penny even less. We have Payroll Worksheet that brings all the data into one place, creating a flexible, thank you, creating a flexible and powerful payroll and shortening the 4 steps to only 2. Thank you. We also have multi-payroll assistant for you. So at any point, you know what's most important to pay attention to at this point. We also invest in making payroll super simple. For example, we improved the run bonus and off-cycle payrolls. Bulk compensation update is addressing a huge pain point. We also streamline expense reviews. So now you have all the expenses in one place, and we also flag if there is a missing receipt or any issues that you need to pay attention to. I'm super excited about these features and how they're going to help you to be more productive and save time so you can focus on what matters the most to you.
I love this. This is a huge improvement, actually.
I love that.
It's super visually appealing. I mean, it really breaks down just in one easy view that this is what's currently due, this is what you really need to pay attention to.
I don't have to spend my time click, 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 click. This is wonderful. Thank you. Oh, man.
Being able to really quickly see which ones actually have receipts, that's going to be huge.
This is way nicer and makes it so much faster.
Love seeing Penny, but at the same time, I don't.
This is like Christmas or Easter egg hunt for me right now.
And it's giving us back our time.
Like, I wish I had this like 5-6 months ago because we were manually calculating this.
Super exciting too to be able to see the data all in one place.
This right here is fantastic. This new format makes this easier to process and know that you're actually processing with less errors.
Product team's killing it.
Now, let's talk about hourly workers, shall we? 58% of all US employees are hourly workers. 49% of all US employees say that they inaccurately tracking their time, costing companies $11 billion annually. We've heard from many customers that they need centralized location for employees to clock in and out.
In a childcare center, when you walk in that door and you're supposed to clock in, there are ratios that have to be met. If you're scheduled to be there at 8 o'clock and you don't show up until 8:05, there's a possibility that we might fall out of ratios. And if there was any way that people could kind of skirt that and clock in their car and not actually be in the building, we just can't take that kind of risk.
We don't allow cell phones. They stay in their lockers. Our employees can only really do things from a kiosk, which was probably why the kiosk was so important to us, because they couldn't clock in on their phones or this and that sort of thing, because they don't have those in the building on their production floor.
So today, I'm super excited to introduce you Time Kiosk, which transforms any internet-connected device into a physical station where employees can clock in and out in person. Thank you. It has many benefits: time saving, accuracy, and most importantly, it provides you peace of mind.
We use the kiosk. I bought a tablet and had it mounted to the wall outside the director's office, and it's working extremely well.
We really wanted something that integrated, something that was, very easy for our employees to use.
The kiosk and the Gusto platform supported our philosophical approach to improving work ethic and improving our schedule.
That was a huge part for us to get a kiosk that worked and integrated well with our services.
It impacts the care that we give. It impacts our customer and child satisfaction. It has led to families retaining into the center and staff retention.
So there was a huge time and money saver for us.
Thank you. Today, we presented 6 new features, and we have many more in the pipeline, which will make Gusto Payroll super simple, assistive, and smart, and suits your changing needs. Thank you so much, everyone.
The economy is like the weather, and you need to know the forecast in order to prepare. My name is Liz Wilkie. If you do not already know me, I am in fact Gusto's principal economist. I lead the economics and data research team here at Gusto. Jumping off with headlines this quarter, what you need to know is that we are no longer in a short-term talent shortage. We are in a forever talent shortage. So retirements, entrepreneurship, and changing industry needs are creating talent demand that far exceeds talent supply in almost every industry. And that is going to be true for the long haul, right? People aren't getting any younger, and workers are changing what they fundamentally value in their work lives. There is good news in the short term. Over the last year, new hire pay went up 10%, and it has now come down 7%. Thanks to Gusto's new hire pay data, we can actually see that stabilization. So you were churning, trying to get people in and pay them whatever it took to get them in the door. Those days seem like they're over for now. And workers are also feeling less confident, which we see in the quits rate, right? Which is the likelihood that a worker quits their job voluntarily. Yet, there are still 1.7 new jobs for every unemployed person in this country. Putting good retention strategies and practices in place is going to be key, because if you lose a worker, there's not another worker coming in to take their place. The pressure is on to focus on benefits and career development. To keep them in the long term and to keep them productive is really going to be key, because the costs of turnover are going to be elevated. And also focus on fractional, global, and freelance employment. Gusto is one of many companies that are launching solutions for customers looking to expand this access to talent. As I said about benefits, I really want to focus on 401k for you all. Actually, on our platform, only about 25% of businesses offer a 401k. We calculated how much it reduces the risk of attrition over 12 months and what the turnover cost would be associated with that. And the ROI on offering 401k for a small business is over 100%. It's one of the best investments a small business can make in their talent strategy, because it's inexpensive and it has this huge return, especially relative to healthcare. And then, of course, on the international talent side, remote or hybrid businesses that are currently working like a standard 9 to 5, 10% of them are already having international employees. And that number is just likely to grow in the future. Financing. There are two contributors to tightening financing conditions in the market. Remember that? Banks are a bit scarred and they are a bit scared. And that guy, that's Jerome Powell. He's the current chair of the Federal Reserve, and he is personally dedicated to bringing inflation down to 2% by raising interest rates to their current 22-year high. And that is why last quarter, 47% of banks tightened loan standards. 38% of them reduced the amount of credit that was available to small businesses. And 58% of them increased the costs of credit more than they reduced them. These are big jumps up in just a couple of quarters, and they are definitely affecting small businesses' ability to access credit in the financial market. Focusing on looking ahead, many businesses are seasonal. Many businesses have contracts that are either going to extend or run out. Help them think strategically so that they don't end a month with a cash deficit that they did not expect, and they don't have any money to pay the bills that they need to pay, because otherwise they're going to put it on a credit card that's more expensive. They're going to go try get a loan that they can't get. Also, help them focus on earnings and cost savings. Maybe there are retained earnings, automated or expedited invoicing, and tax credits. Small businesses do not use the tax credits they are entitled to by the laws of this country. Consumers. That's us, y'all. We're all consumers. They have been defying expectations for well over a year. They've got this big buildup of savings. They have this very good labor market, and they are having a good time, right? And now we don't feel quite that good. We're a little more like this. We are vibing a little bit more conservative. So they're not totally pulling back, but they're stabilizing a bit. So consumer loan deficiencies, that's how many people are late or delinquent on their credit cards. They have risen about 50% since last month. And the consumer spending has been flat for the first time in a really long time. Means there's a real stabilization and that financial households are feeling some of that financial distress. They're happy to spend though. They just want to make sure that they're getting a good value out of it. So mid-level pricing, discounts, the good feels that come with a sale as we move into the holidays especially. 3 things to take away from this conversation. 1, focus on that mid-level and really add value to the pricing and services that they have. And where they can get into long-term contracts and commitments, help them to do that, right? Because it's going to ease their cash flow. That's it for me, y'all. Thank you so much.
Pretty sure when the world transitioned to remote work, you all sheltered in place. Not many of us were prepared for how monumental the ripples of those changes were going to be. The way you hire, the way you retain talent, where you find their talent, or even where they go because they move and you're not ready for that. 97% of employees don't want to return full-time to work. And I think 3% didn't understand the question. 77% of the people working from home feel that they're more productive working from home. Companies that offer remote work, 50% increase in employee retention. But while remote work gave some people on the left the freedom to find work balance, and it's much better, growing your teams across state lines, and don't even get me started, across international borders, can be overwhelming. Most small businesses don't have that kind of time and resources to do this. I am pretty excited, as you can see, to announce our lineup of remote-focused features to help businesses to unlock the talent that you need to stay competitive. First, proud to offer state tax registration in all 50 states. Whoop, whoop. Yes, no matter where your workers live, no matter where they move to, because they tend to move around, and we make it easy for you to hire them, pay them, taken care of. Then we took one step further. We introduced international contractor payments. Really happy to say that right now, we are at 120 countries around the world where you can pay your contractors. Thank you. And the beauty is that the talent pool for contractors in countries around the world is enormous. More than half of the world's college graduates this year are going to come from top emerging markets. Now think the flexibility that you're going to get in allowing the seamless employment across those borders.
Companies that you wouldn't think would be hiring remotely are.
We have a number of clients who've been hiring international contractors. I've seen a massive spike in the last 6 months alone.
You have staple Main Street businesses that are realizing, wait, this function of our business could be done a few states from here, across the country, in a different time zone, possibly in a different country.
Gusto has made hiring remote workers incredibly easy.
I'll do a real quick check within the Gusto site to make sure that those countries are available. And I would say at least 9 out of 10 times they have been.
Why not already use a system you're familiar with?
We can handle it all in Gusto. Here's exactly how we're going to do it. Walk them through that process, and it's been wonderful.
Just lifting the walls that geography can limit so much of our growth.
I'm here to announce something even bigger. Gusto Global! Woo! We're not just talking about contractors anymore. That includes payroll, benefits, taxes, stock options, and of course, local taxes and regulatory compliances. Yes, all this. Gusto Global puts all your team members, all of them, your employee, full-time, hourly, contractors, domestic, global, all in one single platform. And I will not stop until we have a little penny in every single country around the world. Thank you. Merci.
right. Hi, everyone. My name is Eddie Kim, and I am the CTO here at Gusto, also one of the co-founders. I want to know if you've heard of this somewhat obscure technology. It's this thing called ChatGPT. Raise your hand if you've heard about this thing. Okay, obviously everyone has heard about ChatGPT. So what is ChatGPT and how exactly does this work? ChatGPT is just one example of a broader set of technologies that we call large language models. How does a large language model actually work? Now, this is going to be an extreme oversimplification, so the real people that are actually in this field are probably cringing right now, but I do think this is a high-level way to think about how this works. If you think about how predictive text input works on your iPhone, you type in a few words, and based on those few words that you've typed, somehow the iPhone is able to predict or guess what the next word it is that you have in mind, right? And it's really just math, right? It's probability. It's taking a look at your sequence of words, and it's asking of all the words in the dictionary and how they typically tend to be arranged in sentences, what is the probability that this word is going to come after the word that has been typed in so far? And if that probability is very high, it's going to present to you a set of words that you can now push to actually fill in. And it seems like it's reading your mind, but really it just comes down to probability. But more importantly, like, why does this matter to us? Why should this matter to any of you? And I think there's two reasons. One is, hopefully it's pretty obvious, that this has the potential to usher in a new level of productivity for everybody here. Just like when the internet came along, or just like when we moved from box software to cloud software, those came along for those that were able to harness and be proficient in this technology. They're able to all of a sudden do a lot more in a lot less time and also do higher quality work. So obviously it's really important to become really proficient in the next few years in this brand new technology. But the good news, because if you're freaking out right now, the good news is that you don't have to do that today. And in fact, Gusto is working really, really hard to integrate this technology in very intuitive, user-friendly ways into our product so that you don't have to know how to use all this technology on day one, and you can still get the benefits of all of it, the productivity gains, the time savings, doing things better in the Gusto product without having to become an expert in large language models. One of the things that Gusto has in our people platform is an applicant tracking system. But one of the tedious things is that the writing of the job description part actually takes a lot of time. And I think I know this because I've written a lot of job descriptions myself, so I completely get it. So let's see how AI can be used to solve that problem. So I'm going to go to our hiring tools here, go to the recruiting section where our applicant tracking system sits, and I'm going to post a new job. Now let's say we want to hire for a staff accountant because our firm is growing. It's a full-time job, and we want to place them in our San Jose location. We want a senior accountant who can help our clients take care of their employees. Let's put a salary here. And that's the easy part, right? This is the hard part. This is the part that takes the most time, and we usually stare at the screen for a while. And so all I'm going to do is hit the generate description. Gusto is actually going to generate the job description for you. Not only is it writing the job description, but it's actually going to follow your local laws to know things that you have to, by law, put into that job description. So you have fairly good job description here. But let's say you decide that you want it to stand out a little bit more. So maybe you want to do something interesting and say, make it rhyme. And you could do other things. Make it shorter, make it longer, add this many years of experience. You're just conversing with Gusto now in how you want to craft this job description. Pretty good, right? A salary range of $150 to $250 a year based on experience and qualifications, clear. Comprehensive benefits we offer, you'll find medical, dental, vision, and peace of mind. And let's say you don't like that. Maybe you actually don't offer vision for whatever reason. You can edit it, right? And that's a philosophy that we have here called human in the loop, meaning that whatever the AI generates, you're going to always have an opportunity to review it, edit it, make sure it looks good before it gets sent out. So that's our applicant tracking system, right? Let's talk about one more example. Another thing that you all are familiar with is reporting. You go to the report section to generate a report because you have a business question that you're trying to answer. But what if you could just ask Gusto the business question? Go to the reports page, go to our new custom report, and now let's say something like, how much did I pay for Fuda last quarter? You just ask that Gusto in your own natural language, and you will see that it actually selected the columns, the right columns that you want in that report. All you have to do is preview that report, and voila, there's your answer. Let's say you actually wanted to break it down by pay period, so you wanted a little more granularity here. You can select the pay period breakdown, and you can see how it was split up between two different payrolls that were run. If you feel good about it, it's pretty simple. You just run the report, and then you'll get the download in a CSV or a PDF, and you're good to go. So just think about how much easier that is. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you got a better sense of generative AI and how we are using it here at Gusto to help all of you leverage all that this technology has to promise.
So my name's Bridget Haymaker, GM and Head of Product for Accountants here at Gusto.
Hi everyone, I'm Will. I lead design for the accountants team where we're focused on delivering great product experiences. Bridget and I both joined the team at the same time, and one of the first things that we did was spend time with many of you to get a better understanding of your world.
Let's check out what we heard.
I hate payroll.
I would rather eat a bowl of cauliflower raw.
Hate running it. I don't really even like talking about it.
And if there's anything that we have to do right every time, it's payroll.
I wish somebody would solve the headache of payroll.
To remove the stress and the time it takes to successfully process the payroll and ensure that it's being done right.
Somebody, help us out. Help us out.
Clearly, we had the wrong idea.
So with everything that we learned, we set out to help you unlock scale in two core areas taking up a significant amount of time. One, running complex payrolls, and two, finding and fixing client issues.
So during our time with accountants, we kept hearing about how all of you were taking on the most complex, most time-consuming payrolls. So we dug deeper. We ran a survey. We watched you run payroll for your clients. We dug into product analytics, and what we found was that generally the end-to-end process looked something like this. You'd start by downloading a timesheet report from time tracking software or grab it from a client via email. You'd then go out and get additional data like tips or commissions, combine it all into a master spreadsheet. You'd manually enter that data from that spreadsheet into Gusto. You generate a draft, send it to your client, finally, run payroll. And in that survey we ran, we learned that on average, this whole end-to-end process takes about 50 minutes. And when you break down that time, the majority, about 60%, is spent manually preparing data for payroll, often in spreadsheets. And so then we started looking at CSV upload usage data, wondering, hoping that some folks were speeding up the process that way. But what was wild is we saw that only 1% of accountant-run payrolls were leveraging CSV upload, mostly because of some pretty rigid requirements associated with our template. So we started asking, what would be required for you all to drop in any spreadsheet in any format, no data preparation, manipulation, and just have it work? What would it look like to take that whole end-to-end process down from 50 minutes to less than 5 minutes? Even for the most complex payrolls. We're sharing our answer with you today. Introducing an all-new AI-powered payroll flow purpose-built for you all. I want to make this super tangible for you and show you what this is going to look like for Michael and his client, Handlebar Cyclery. They've got 26 employees, they're a bike shop, mostly hourly. So we're going to start in an all-new payroll hub in Gusto Pro. Here I can see a list of all my clients' payrolls, which ones I'm responsible for versus my client. I can see upcoming payroll deadlines. And here I can see that Handlebar's payroll is due in 5 hours. So I'm brought first directly into Worksheet, which the lovely Larone talked about earlier. I can grab my client's file, which has all of the employees' hours and earnings from the previous time period. From here, I can click CSV upload, and I'm prompted to upload my spreadsheet. So here's where Gen AI comes in. With AI powering our smart import, you can drop in any spreadsheet in any format, and Gusto will automatically map the data. Let's dig in a little bit. We'll show you some of the examples of how this is actually working under the hood. So here what you're looking at on the left is a snapshot of the actual CSV. It's showing an expense reimbursement for Ashlyn, which the client noted manually at the bottom of the spreadsheet. On the right, you can see the output of Smart Import. So you can see that it correctly associated the $59 reimbursement to the right employee, even though it didn't at all adhere to the CSV format. Second example, it can correctly map an employee listed as Pat Churchland in the spreadsheet with a Patricia Churchland formal name in Gusto. Final example, one we've seen come up pretty frequently, I've heard from all of you, an employee with multiple roles. And so here it can take multiple hours entries and sum them up automatically, even accounting for the multiple roles that employee performed over the last pay period. Pretty sweet. When I click import, it takes all of that data, brings it into my client's account. I can hit this handy little button called Request Client Approval, and it will automatically send a draft payroll summary over to my client. My client can receive a notification. They can hit to review. They can easily review a summary. And then with one tap, they can hit submit. Good to go. Now, one last piece. We alluded to it earlier. I'm going back into Gusto Pro. And here I can see that Stephen approved the payroll in my all new activity log in Gusto Pro. 50 minutes to 5 minutes. How'd we do?
We've reviewed how we'll help you scale in cases where you're running payroll for your clients. Now let's talk about the other case, where your clients are running payroll and you're playing a support role. First, it's hard to discover and keep tabs on all the issues that need to be resolved. Second, you can't resolve many issues on your own. You need to contact support in order to do things like update state tax account numbers. And third, if you do need to get help from CX, you don't have visibility into the status of your case, and that can make it pretty hard to manage expectations with your clients. In the future, whenever I add a client, I can identify the services that I'll provide to them through Gusto and what I'll be responsible for as the accountant. In this case, with my client, Fire Creek Coffee, I'll be overseeing payroll, I'll be overseeing benefits, and I'll also be helping with certain aspects of HR, like the employee handbook. Now, based on how I've defined my responsibilities working with my clients, the communications that I get from Gusto are tailored. So hopping into my inbox here, I'll get an email if there's an issue with Fire Creek's payroll that I might want to be aware of and help resolve. But I no longer get all the emails that are relevant for Claire, who's the person at Fire Creek who's running payroll. And I not only have email for discovering those important client issues, I also have Gusto Pro. And here I can see all tasks across all my clients in one place. All right. Just like my email, the tasks that I see in Gusto Pro are tailored based on the role that I play with each of those clients. And you can see that the tasks are grouped by task type, which makes it easier for me to scale support across my clients. For tasks like incorrect state tax account numbers that today I need to call customer support in order to update, I can update those myself in Gusto Pro. And if I'm in the process of registering for one of those state tax account numbers, then I can apply a 2-week payroll extension all by myself without going into my client's account. For issues that I can't resolve on my own, that I need to submit a ticket for, I can see those for all of my clients right in Gusto Pro. I can see the ticket number, I can see the current status, I can see the client, and I can see something that many of you have asked for, which is an ETA for when the issue will be resolved. And so now, providing that first line of support to my clients is so much more streamlined, making it easy to keep payroll, benefits, and HR running smoothly.
Michael here, going back to Michael, the star of our show. He graciously offered up some of his client files to help us start testing a proof of concept of smart import. But what he didn't know is that we would have some results here to share with him and you all. So this is one of his client files. It's not overly complex, but there's a couple tricky things that Smart Import's going to have to get right. So the first is this column called CTO. Michael, what's CTO?
Combined time off.
Thank you. In our system, we have a different name for that field, so it's going to have to automatically map that up. Second, we've got a very generic column here called hours, so it's going to have to figure out that that's regular hours. And we've anonymized the employee names, but there were also some employees that weren't exactly matching names in Gusto, so it's going to have to get that right as well. Okay, so we're here in Payroll. We're going to upload our CSV, access Smart Import. We're going to grab that file that you all just saw. We're going to hit continue. Drum roll, please. Michael,
Wow.
how did handle the file?
Did Eddie just do this? Like, he got off stage and just did this? This is really cool.
So thank you, Michael.
Are you guys
Super
AI
appreciate it.
robots? Real?
Thank you all so much for your partnership. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have the honor and privilege to be a part of the Gusto team supporting and driving our DEI strategy. So I'm going to be talking about retention, not regular retention, long-term retention, more than a paycheck. We're going to talk about how do you build that value and how do you drive intention. When employees actually feel valued, there is a 50% turnover reduction. So we're going to talk about how do you build that value and how that is going to look different for everyone that you're supporting. 200% of an annual salary is on average the cost it can be to replace an employee. So let's talk about what are the different facets of retention. And you all may have seen different ways of seeing this in our conversation today when we talked about talent, we talked about scale, right? Compensation and benefits, right? It's the combination of those things. Flexibility to work when and where I want. We talked a little bit about remote work, and you're working with multiple time zones. We talked about international borders. That definitely is going to give a lot of different ways that this can look for retaining our talent. Challenging and impactful work. It's the combination of the work being challenging and impactful. Opportunities for that career growth. Do they see a path? And then lastly, opportunities to learn and develop new skills. It starts to add up. So that's why we want to spend this time talking about retention. Value plus intention. So these are the two questions that we're going to dive into. How do you build value? And what does intention look like? These are the three things that I think about when building intention around retention strategies. So the first is the room. Who's there? Does everybody look like you? You can't build that way. Are you only thinking about what your needs are, how you're impacted? We know that a lot of you are employing folks across international borders. It's going to be really hard to have intentionality around building a retention strategy if you are not taking into consideration those cultural differences. Second, who are you looking to impact? Are you trying to impact contractors, part-time folk, full-time folks, or people that are going to be with you for a really, really long time? So trackable measure. If you've already got the right people in the room, you know who you want to impact, how do you hold yourself accountable? Did you put together a system in place that you're going to be able to go back to? So now, got the right people in the room, we know who we're trying to impact, and we know how we're going to hold ourselves accountable. How do you build the value? So here's the 3 things. Be honest, stay curious, follow through. When you're building retention, there's 2 people you have to be honest with, yourself and the people you're trying to impact. If you're not honest with yourself, guess what? Bias, blind spots, all of that is going to pop up. If you're not honest with the people you're trying to impact, y'all know what happens, right? You lose trust. They leave. They don't want to be there anymore. Stay curious, ask questions, dive deeper, figure out what's going on. Stay curious, follow through. You have to get it across the finish line. The intention and the value, right? Those things together create long-term retention. Thinking about those 5 aspects of employee retention, and when we talk about building value and we talk about having intention behind what we do, performance reviews, right? That's very closely aligned to where do people want to go? What do they want to do? What do they want to learn? Goal tracking. How are you holding yourself accountable? Are you holding your teams accountable? Are we thinking about retaining them? And lastly, 401k integrations. It's wealth generating. They are going to appreciate that from you. 75% of turnover is preventable. That's a lot of people. Value and intention can lead to long-term retention, but it won't be an easy road. We're all here, though, to help you. I hope y'all enjoyed your time with me. I enjoyed it with you all.
I'm Anne Raimondi, very proud Gusty on the board, and then COO of a company called Asana, which is a project task management, work management platform. Almost 80% of small business owners believe that they are going to need to adapt and change in the next 2 years. Whether as a founder or for employees to go through change, it turns out is not always something that people look forward to. But there is something that helps us with change. It turns out there's something that makes change easier. So James Heskett is a professor at Harvard Business School. And the thing that he and his team have discovered on the best companies, the most adaptive, the most agile, the most enduring, is they have a really effective culture. And that culture helps them adapt. It helps them see around corners. It helps them motivate employees to be excited about the journey. And that's really thinking about culture as a system of reinforcing, connected, complementary components, that if you build them all together, that they actually make your culture stronger. So there's 3 components in this system. There's your mission, there's your values, and there's your norms. So think of mission as this is really defining your impact in the world. Why does your company exist? Why does your business exist? What's the difference you want to make? As you think about either writing yours or reviewing yours, is it unique? Does it really tell your story? Is it specific about who you're there to serve and the impact you want to make on the world? The second component is values. And again, values are one that we probably always talk about, and people might highlight values like integrity or kindness. I'm going to encourage you to think about values as your behavioral compass, and that your values should have an opinion. They should be opinionated. They should really communicate what's most important to you and your employees. They should also communicate the things that you reward as well as the things that are not acceptable. They're an explicit choice. Your values should help you and your team members make decisions that are hard. And then last but not least, norms. Norms really are how all of it comes together. These are also the choices you make on things like your processes, your cadences, your systems, how you make decisions. It's really how the actual work gets done. And one that I really recommend is really just writing down your decision making. And then probably the most important part, are you writing down how you're going to mitigate the risks? Decisions aren't the only norm to think about codifying, but they're one of the most important. So we talked about culture now. You know, it's a set of components. You know, it's mission, values, and norms. The real opportunity for each of you is, what is your culture? Do you know what your system is today? Are you intentional about it? What do you want it to be? Where in the future do you want to take it? And then how do you build a roadmap to help you accomplish that future that you're envisioning? So in your next one-on-one with an employee, in your next customer meeting, in your next chat with a partner, ask them what 3 words come to mind. And that's really important to understand, where are you? To then be able to set a culture vision for where you want to go. Don't worry about making it perfect. Share it with people you care about getting feedback from. Recruit them to help you make your vision come true. So you took a pulse, you know where you want to head, you've written down where you want to go. How do you build that roadmap? And that's thinking of culture as a product. It also helps us think about culture as something that evolves and grows and changes, that we can be intentional about. So this is one of the concepts that I've found most inspiring and most motivating in terms of building a journey, building a culture that you're really proud of. And before you know it, you will be waking up every day celebrating the culture that you have built, that you're really proud of, that reflects who you are and your, and unique talent in building the business that you're all building already. Thank you for allowing me to be a small part of it today.
It feels good to know that you're not on an island. You have Gusto support, but you also have the community as a whole.
Community continues to matter and matter and matter more.
Gusto Next is an opportunity to deepen relationships with your peers.
It's really been life-changing.
It's empowering. It makes me really believe in what we're doing.
The people you get to meet, the conversations you get to have.
It gets you thinking as a business owner.
Gusto genuinely wants to know how they could be better for you.
To celebrate, to learn, to be together, to figure out solutions and what we can do to exhaust more opportunity for our customers.
They are a true partner.
They really care. We've had an incredible 2 days and we can't wait to see you next year.